The natural, innate, and only true state of the self is completely formless, timeless, locationless, unborn, eternal. It is absolute, and it is the only reality. Utterly impersonal, undivided, undifferentiated. It ever abides in its own silent peace, its own perfection. There is no question of anyone realizing it as if it would become more real later. Nor is there any individual who is unrealized, who is other than that, who exists in some other way, as if there were a second reality. For the self, which is the Absolute or Brahman, is one without a second. Utter non-duality is the simple fact. As the Maharshi has expressed, all kinds of trouble come from conceiving of oneself as an individual and as an embodied one at that. As all perfection and bliss lies in the knowledge of the self, the root of all kinds of suffering and bondage is not knowing the self, misidentifying. Regard yourself as an I or as a body, and you have trouble. There is bondage, there is suffering, of some kind or another, or the possibility of these. If there's suffering, naturally there will be the desire to be happy. If there is bondage, naturally there should be the desire for liberation. But that blissful liberation is an impersonal state. The person, that is to say the I with the body, does not become that bliss, does not become perfect, does not become the Absolute or Brahman, does not become the self, does not become liberated. But you can liberate yourself from that person, from the body, from the false notion of I. And realize that bliss, that perfection as innate, not being created, consequently not being destroyed, not being newly obtained and consequently never lost. Inquire deeply into yourself and perceive what you regard yourself as. As a body? Or as located or cooped up inside a body? With the attributes of a body? including the senses, including the activities of the body from birth to death and everything in between? Does any of that pertain to you? Inquire deeply, examine yourself, and see what seems to constitute the individual identity. There is no liberation for that individual. But fortunately, you're not that individual. There is liberation from the false sense of individuality that through mere imagination has been superimposed on your real being. Your real being is space-like consciousness, with no form, consequently no boundary, with no division, and so homogeneous, with nothing apart from it, but also nothing inside it. Inquire deeply to know yourself. Set aside anything pertaining to the body, whatever is objective, whatever is sensed, as not I, not really the self. Set aside as a definition for who you are everything that depends on the notion I. As Sri Bhagavan points out, first there is the I, and then that's integral to every other thought. So set aside whatever you think about. It does not make a difference if it's past, present, or future. Regard it all as unreal, as not yourself. Who are you? What you seek to obtain in seeking self-realization is not objective to you. But it has not a trace of individuality, not a trace of ego in it. This egoless real state, or real self, which alone is the only actual topic in this teaching. There not being anything else real. And it is self-knowledge, and there not being anything else that is you. So it is all about you, from you to you. Because what you are can neither be expressed in a word, for it is not objective, nor conceived in a thought. That silence, for which the Maharshi was so well known, is the most eloquent explanation. All other instruction is merely expedient or auxiliary argument. Dive deep within yourself and silently realize this singular truth regarding your being, the one without a second. If what has just been stated makes sense to you, dive within and realize its significance by knowing yourself. And if what has just been said doesn't make that much sense to you, don't worry about it, just make the attempt to know yourself. Question, go ahead, Shanti.
So, in a statement by Vibhu, that whatever is known is Shiva, and that Shiva am I. He is gathering a number of previously maybe different appearing concepts, thoughts, definitions, and bringing them to a common denominator for the sake that they really are the same, like knowledge, knowing by knowledge, which would equal consciousness, and Shiva, and the I. So somewhere along the path, these were important tools to work with, and now he wants one to seek their total identity. Is this the purpose of the statement?
Everything that is ever experienced in any time, in any state of mind, waking, dreaming, deep dreamless sleep, with thought, without thought, with the senses, without senses, in life, in death, everything without exception is known only in consciousness. This you understand. Since it is never known outside of consciousness, it is only within the consciousness. What is within the consciousness is consciousness itself, since it will not harbor anything of another nature. That consciousness is the reality. The reality will not harbor within itself anything of the unreal. The consciousness itself is knowledge. It is the knowledge of self-knowledge, and if one thinks of knowing something else, it is that knowledge also. Without that other thing actually ever coming to be. All without exception are only consciousness. The emphasis is on the consciousness. All is just a figment. Imagination, the stuff of dreams. That consciousness, inherent in which is the power to destroy all illusion and delusion, and which upon such destruction remains as absolute, forever unmodified non-dual being, is the significance of Shiva, meaning literally the auspicious, the good, because of its blissfulness and its perfection. Everything is only that. There is no everything, just that. That is consciousness, and that is what you are. That is the only identity. I. So I is the name for Brahman, or pure consciousness. The only identity, the only reality, the only lasting happiness. Something like this is the significance of what Ribhu is saying.
You used to sometimes refer to the fact that it's not like a razor's edge, and it's not getting more and more difficult, but rather towards the end it's getting simpler. And I believe this quote here is one of those simplifications that would gather in strands of the mind, or whatever was not totally integrated yet, into that togetherness in the one. That's the purpose.
Since ancient times, and as stated in certain texts, including in the Upanishads themselves, the spiritual path has been said to be like a razor's edge. The purpose is not to make the aspirant feel diffident and think, I don't like razors, so... but to indicate the keen awareness with which one should discriminate between the real and the unreal, what is the self and what is not the self, the kind of careful attention that should be given to it. For if we consider what care and what careful attention has been given, that such teachings have been passed down for millennia, not only through written and spoken word, but through the minds of those who realized it. We think of such care, then the aspirant should meet it at least with the same amount of care. With a humble thankfulness, but with care. So, like a razor's edge, one should be keenly aware, with a lot of care. However, since it is only oneself, and there are not two of you, it is difficult to go astray if one is guided by self-inquiry or self-knowledge. Where would you go? Who would go astray? So in light of that, it's been said here, it's not like a razor's edge. It's a path so wide you can't fall off. Ultimately, it's more like space emptying itself into infinite space.
We're talking about Maharshi teaching the silence, and I totally understand that because you do it too, and I feel that the eye that feels that is not the eye that gets it or recognizes it. It's amazing to me that when I take a course or a class, I get the essence and I practice them. But pulling self-inquiry and satsang into my daily life 100% hasn't happened yet. And it's so weird because I really want it. And it just hasn't happened. Now I can say that the mind goes off, the ego shows up, I sweep it out, it shows up again and again, and it's just amazing that I can't pull I begin the morning by doing self-inquiry as soon as I open my eyes, so that the other irrelevancies can't come in as quickly as it used to. And before I go to sleep, I do the same thing. But in between the spaces, there's so many gaps. Drives me crazy sometimes.
What constitutes the daily life?
What I want to do is just be. That's what I want to do. And I used to say, well, I meditate in order not to get rid of the thoughts. And I've given that one up because the thoughts are not real to begin with. And the one who meditates is not real either.
Have you abandoned the meditation or abandoned the misidentification that made you think previously that thoughts were real?
Have I abandoned?
The meditation or the misidentification? You see, if we abandon the meditation but leave the eye intact, this is not necessarily helpful. It would be better if we abandoned the eye and remained in meditation all the time.
And I would like to be in meditation all day long.
So then what makes up all day long? This is what you're meditating on right now with me. What composes the daily life? Where does it take place? If you say out and about in the world, where does the world appear?
When the eye shows up, when the me shows up in the mind.
So what you call your daily life is a product of misidentification?
Lots of it. Lots of it.
And if you would eliminate the misidentification, what would happen to your daily life? Would you have one?
I wouldn't have a life, I would just be.
That's what you wanted.
I disappear. I'm confused now.
You're clearer in your present confusion than you were before in your so-called clarity. You said you wanted to be, and that all that would be left of you is just your being if you eliminated your daily life. The daily life, you said, was composed of or rooted in the misidentification. It does not occur out there in the world.
No.
The world and your interaction with it occurs in your mind and your mind only. You must take up some definition in order for all that to evolve each morning or afternoon or whenever it gets started. You can trace your way inward, but abandon the misidentification thoroughly.
When I do self-inquiry, it just, everything calms down. Everything calms down.
Why not inquire without interruption?
That's what I want to do. That's what I want to do. And I haven't quite figured out that, I can do cooking, I can drive in a car, and the word doesn't even feel real, it just feels like there's a being that was dropped in there, maybe by mistake. And it just, even the beauty that I see doesn't feel that's what it is. And I know whatever I see comes from me.
Okay.
I know whatever I feel comes from me. Whatever I conjure up in my daily life comes from the ego, which comes from the mind, which comes from consciousness. And it's the remembering to do self-inquiry all day long.
So if the inquiry is there, there is the clarity. If the inquiry is not there, then there's all kinds of cloudiness. So the Maharshi says, when Atma Vichara or self-inquiry is abandoned, Loka Vichara, world inquiry, begins.
Yes.
Which you call your daily life. How did the eternal, the infinite consciousness, get a daily life?
That's a good question.
I mean, how did God get caught up in the cooking and the driving?
You can't be, absolutely, that's what happens. It totally happens this way. I know who I am. Okay.
Let alone a messy husband.
Yeah, I forget so many times that whatever I see, whatever I feel, I just conjure up, and it's not even. I'm not. How can anything happen? I am the illusion.
All right, so it's all for I. As often as you can, trace back the experience, whatever is appearing. For whom is it?
Yes.
You're familiar with the phrase, we use it so often. For whom is it?
All day long.
As soon as your attention is non-objective, you've given up the objective outlook. For whom is this should return the sense of reality and identity inward. And then inquire, who am I? The Maharshi has said that if one would just inquire without interruption, without a break, that alone would suffice for complete self-realization.
That's what I like.
If you have the desire strongly enough, it will manifest. Your inquiry will be off the mental level. It is not possible to have your mental attention on it all the time. It's the nature of mental attention to flit about, to move, even if it's well concentrated. Just as it is not possible to have thought all the time, it is not possible to have no thoughts all the time, or any other such mental state. But you are all the time. You're existing all the time. The inquiry must go on at the same level as your existence. You must be being paged by the Supreme Lord. Make the inquiry non-mental. Stay focused on the I. Every time you seem to slip from it, use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage by prompting a deeper, more thorough inquiry, especially if you find yourself going back to the same misidentification as you did previously. We don't want just a break in the thinking pattern. That's great. That's fine to have. But you want to cut the identity, the misidentification that's at the root of it. You are not someone who has just been plopped into the world. The I and the world are both false appearances rising and setting together. Regard both as an illusion and inquire as to who you are.
There is no one to plop into anything.
No one to plop into the world. Yes.
I used to think that it's impossible for me to do my checkbook, for instance, and to self-inquire at the same time. But I've given that up because I was able to do it, and all of a sudden it just came out 100%.
That's because this is a path of knowledge. Jnana means knowledge. You could say wisdom as well, but usually we translate the term as knowledge. It's not a matter of thinking one way or another. It's not a matter of thinking about the self.
Yeah.
The inquiry is indicated by that phrase, who am I? It's a path of knowledge. It's a state of knowledge that you're practicing.
That's what I got.
That knowledge is one with being, so it can be as continuous as being.
But I don't do it all the time. That's
The I that doesn't do it, you should inquire into her nature. Just that I. Yes, you can see how,
yes.
by habit, the sense of ego keeps coming back. Inquire into it in every way that you can. If you persevere and you're drawn by an intense desire for liberation, the obstacle of that habit will be what turns out to be full of holes. It's not the experience of reality that's full of holes. Though it is space-like, it is solid and enduring. It's the Maya or illusion. It's the ego that's one big hole and appears as full of holes.
That's true. That's true.
Make it a joy for yourself to go hunting to see just how many holes there are.
That's good. I probably need my computer to clock time. No, there are many, many less holes than there used to be. And it proved that my granddaughter got married yesterday, and I was there, and so was my former husband, and it was just really, really nice. And being calm about it has not always been our mark. And I can really see just how much debris I have cleared up from who I really am. And the illusionary me felt good about it.
Where did the good feeling come from, really?
From who I am.
Yeah. All the happiness lies in one place. The ego has no part in it.
And as you said, love is knowledge. I really got that one deeply.
Self-forgetfulness has been the gift as a result of self-inquiry. That brings peace and continuous expansion and dynamic in one's life. Thyself, Satchitananda, brings for every aspect, bringing common sense to the action and every situation, without doubt. So it's easy that way. Being, peace, accommodating. There's not deception. It's all true, it's all good.
So Bhagavan, what you're saying is that we're all just involved in that habit. It's just a bad habit, staying in the misidentification in the sense of false thinking.
Yes, expediently, it's a bad habit, we can say. A habit must belong to somebody. Who has the habit? The self doesn't have any habits. And the body is innocent in all this.
So it's just a process that's attained its own momentum. It's becoming aware of that and then letting it disappear. Precisely.
Yes, but how can that happen? How can something create itself? It doesn't make sense, does it? That's the problem with the ego. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. In fact, it doesn't make any sense. Any explanation we have for ignorance or illusion, samsara, etc., is all right if it prompts us to destroy that illusion. So if we say it's a habit, if we say it's self-perpetuating, if we say it's broken off from the self, if we say it comes from something else, whatever, as long as you wind up taking full responsibility for it to examine it and to destroy that illusion, to do away with the delusion, then whatever the theory is, it's okay. And the final analysis is a theory for something that has not come to be. It is all a matter of explanations for the snake where there's only a rope.
The deepening discovery that there really is no individual entity or entity to be enlightened or unenlightened, or to plop into this existence or unplop from that, to get purified or non-purified or transformed or all this. That itself is the wondrous release from the bondage and liberation at the same time. It's just to know that that's a non-existent entity that's created all this imaginary that never existed in the first place.
That's why the concluding line in the text, Who Am I, by the Maharshi says, when asked, what is release, or what is liberation, inquiring into the nature of the bound one, and discovering his real nature, which implies the absence of ego, that itself is release.
It is a magic show. I heard a quote recently, I don't know whether I can remember it. As a practical matter, sanity is agreeing with the hallucinations of our neighbors. Something like that.
It says it better.
The quote was better written. count. But it is, we go into the movie with our neighbors, and that's what's saying. If we step outside of it, I have dear friends who would say, well, okay, that's all very good to realize that there's no individual entity to do this or that. Now that you've come to that deep understanding, what are you going to do about the suffering of the world? Or what are you going to do with your life? Or what are you going to create? You know, those questions would arise. My answer would be different now than it would be then. I don't think my answer would be heard, so I don't know what to say to that.
Well, it really does not make much difference what you say to them. It'd be like being responsible to answer the questions of your fellow dream travelers after you've woken up, after you woke up. Well, it's not difficult. You have a difficult answering last night's dream characters' questions.
That's true.
When a person has the question or the doubt, such as, all right, I am realizing the non-ego state, now what do I do? There are two eyes, you see? Actually three in the question. Even though one's existence is utterly singular and indivisible. It's just a matter of someone not understanding what is meant by the non-ego state. They have the words, but not necessarily the experience, even though it's true about their own nature. Otherwise, such doubts as to what will one create, what will one do, what about re-entering into life, etc., wouldn't arise. If the ego is really gone, all those definitions of doing and creating and their opposite, active and inactive, life, however it's being defined in the question, all that would have vanished. All that being based on delusion. The realized have no problem with that. So it is not important what you answer to others who put the question to you that way. It's only important within yourself. That you abide as being beyond life and death, as pure existence which is neither active nor inactive, as the unborn, which does not create anything and consequently is imperishable, in which there are no others. Whether they agree with you, your insanity, or they don't agree with you.
Whether there's anyone there to agree with or not.
Abide in that state which is like waking up from a dream. After you wake up from the dream happenings, the dream characters, the dream thoughts, the dream subject and the dream object, none of those are anymore. Only the consciousness, which was the one thing that was not visible in the dream, remains. The consciousness is what you are.
Thank you.
That is what was never bound in the dream.
I hear you.
No free individual is free from the individual.
It's freedom from the individual. The individual never gets free. It never can.
Right, the dreamer doesn't wake up.
The
The dream character, he doesn't wake up.
Nothing you can do to wake up.
No, the dream character is not even a question whether you can do something about it. The dream character never wakes up. There's everything you can do to wake yourself up from the dream character, which is why there's spiritual practice and realization.
Yes, I hear you. Thank you. It's a joy to hear.
So you have to wake up to make your dreams to come true.
Okay. Go ahead.
I was thinking about that question you were asking about what is your daily life? And it hit me because I kind of asked myself, oh, what's my daily life? And there are all these things in my daily life, all these things I have to do. And I kind of was meditating on that and reflecting how I really have to draw that sense of, identity away from the body. Or just notice. But it felt really like a good meditation to really say, okay, what is my daily life? And try to really notice, figure it apart.
After a deep meditation experience, do you actually come back to a daily life as if it were waiting there for you? And what is it that's called daily life? And would that definition match that of any other living being? Or is it just a peculiar set of ideas and sensations, which to give it greater authority and validity is called daily life? Or even outrageously, the world.
Yes, so totally my particular perspective. The body, or the world, the mind.
Mm-hmm.
That combination platter.
A particular perspective in the mind. Your own unique combination platter. Agreed. With ingredients of I am the body, mistaking the sensations to be real or valid. The imagination that there is something outside, when outside exists only inside. And the idea, it's only an idea, that outwardly projected or imagined so-called life, the personal entity in the world, is an ongoing reality.
Yeah, that's interesting.
As if one's own existence, which is what is, you're with yourself in deep meditation, it's your own existence. As if your own existence were sporadic and the daily life were continuous. Even though the daily life relies 100% on your own existence, but your own existence doesn't rely on it at all. How can that be?
Big hallucination, that's for sure. Because it seems like even in my meditation, sometimes when I'm meditating, I give, even though it seems like how can these ideas have any strength at all? Because they're objective, they're not who I am. But I definitely lend them reality, like, a dream, proof. And all of a sudden, I put energy into that dream. And all of a sudden, those ideas become real. They spin out, this whole kind of dream world.
Mm-hmm.
Seems real and solid.
Right,
It seems like it's.
and then you think it'd be spiritually worthwhile to bring that which is spiritual into your daily life, not realizing where the daily life actually is.
In my mind.
Some people make a big deal about that. It'd be better if they gave up the whole idea of a daily life and found out who they are. Whose conception is it?
Yeah, like for instance, today, I think, okay, after satsang, I have to do, my daily life.
And what constitutes the daily life? What's the definition?
A body.
Okay.
Not in the world usually.
Is that you? Can you call an animated corpse you?
Sad.
Well, if you take it to be me, yourself, you are going to be sad.
Yeah. Pretty grim life.
And if you abandon the misidentification with the body, what happens to the sadness or grimness?
Oh, yeah. Big difference.
Your own experience proves the fact. What's natural and what's unnatural stands out as self-evident.
Definitely, it's easier. My mind is, I don't know what it is, it's like a gravity here. It's like going all to, the infinite. It's definitely a big ache. And I want to make sure that I take that with me to blow, away my daily life.
Okay, if you want to take what you experience in satsang with you, just go on inquiring as to what that you is. Sang means association. Sat means existence, truth, or reality. The reality always exists. The truth of it is to be found out by constantly knowing who you are. To know who you are, since who you are, the self, is non-objective, negate everything you're not. Hence, the process of self-inquiry is primarily negation. Negation of what is unreal, since the real cannot be negated. So go on questioning who that you is. The idea that there's some period of time marked off for meditation and another period of time for the daily life, the Maharshi says, is for, quote, the merest novices. That a man who's enjoying the deeper beatitude will experience it completely differently. Why did he say that? Isn't it quite arbitrary what you call daily life and otherwise? Is it just the body's activities? You are not the body, so what would its activities have any? What effect would they have? For someone who's correctly pursuing a path of knowledge, inquiring, activity represents no obstacle. He's not the body. Active and inactive states are identical. Even now, that's true for you. There's no alteration in your existence. An hour from now, or thereabouts, your existence is still going to be with you. No different than it is right now. Likewise, 2, 3, 4 hours from now. Tomorrow, the same. What is it that seems to change? Your being does not change. What is it that seems to change?
My mind changes.
Examine how it changes. See what tendency it takes up, and go back the way you came.
Try to do this. I mean, it's something endeavoring. Sometimes I see more clearly, sometimes not. So it seems like the more misidentification, longer it goes, the more stuff gets piled.
Yes. If delusive thoughts are not checked, they lead to more delusive thoughts. You can't just wait for delusion to wear itself out. You may get a brief respite from it, like in deep dreamless sleep, when you're not thinking about anything. But that wound in itself eliminates the delusion. The longer it goes, the more it multiplies. So don't pursue it when it comes up. Inquire. Don't say to yourself, oh, this is my daily life, it's time to be bound. This is daily lifetime. It says so on the clock, it's time to be ignorant. Should we post a sign up at the exit door that says, now entering Maya, now entering Samsara? Population, and it should list, should we, like a road sign?
In the other direction, you go. Population 0.
But it would be ridiculous. It's the same space, inside and outside, same existence.
Seems like this whole thing about not questioning this, fact that the sense of egoity, grasp onto all these things. I really have to, I feel like I have to start questioning, that do I exist? It seems like it grabs on, and I try to meditate, okay, how I'm not the body. It seems obvious how that's not, the case. But it seems like I have to take it further to kind of get more space from the fact that it seems like it keeps trying to reattach.
You can see there's no one at the center of illusion, and you can also strip off the various vasanas or tendencies of that illusion to see that there's no one at the center. That's what I meant before by more and more holes in the illusion until you see it's a vacancy and a vacuum in the center. You can see that you're not the body. Is there anything external then to you? You used to mark off the exterior by your body, the body being the dividing line. Your own thoughts were regarded as interior, sense perceived objects regarded as exterior. Now that you know you're not the body, is there an exterior?
Yeah, I have to meditate more on taking down any sense of the senses, saying about me.
What do they say about you?
Well, if I just assume, if I'm not, discriminating between that sense experience and where I'm located, then I start assuming I'm in the body.
Are you in the body?
No, that's...
That was quick. So what do the senses say about you?
Nothing. They're just like different pictures on the screen, I guess, They're doing all sorts of things.
Okay, like pictures on the screen. When the whole show is enacted, nothing is really happening to the screen, is there? You are the screen. Sense impressions are the images. They don't stand up on their own, but they never become the screen. Whatever happens with the images does not happen to the screen. Can you be seen? Can you be heard? Can you be touched? Can you be a seeing, hearing, or touching entity? Then there's no inside and no outside, or everything is within. Shanti.
Indeed, I am the notion of my day is also defaulted on the point of scientific clarity that says your body is never the same from day to day. The cells, tissues, molecules, atoms, they're dying away by massive numbers while we are sitting here. And there should be no assumption that this is the same body as yesterday or last year. We just don't notice it because we don't pay attention, but it has been clearly shown that this is a constant flow of change,
Mm-hmm.
until it finds its end. Rather than paying attention that it is not even the same the body, the same mind is known for its disloyalty to its own notions in many cases, and so on. In other words, all these vehicles that we have, they're all so temporary. They're so, we cannot really, they are not reliable in the long run. So, who is this my? There is the thought of my day. I think the my should be examined, and who is this I saying this? And how long will this body last? You know? And so, a non-attention to even, well-proven scientific facts, which are sometimes quoted here, we are overlooking that the time is short. And our main assignment in life is to know who I am. And so you get on with it and not, have this illusion and the delusion that this body will be a reliable friend in the long run.
No, the body is transient. And we never step in the same river twice, though the mind has a contrary idea. It is all transient, it all changes. Something does not change. But it's not the body. To misidentify with the body, no, that's not a safe haven. Not a good thing. Shankara has described it as trying to cross a river on the back of a crocodile, mistaking it for a log. It changes, it's transient.
And
We call it ourselves, but it's not ourself. We refer to it as our possession, but how long can we hold on to it?
And even tonight is not guaranteed for anyone.
Mm-hmm. Existence is guaranteed. And if you seek to know yourself, that existence reveals itself to itself. That's guaranteed. That you can be certain of. The rest doesn't come with any guarantee. Go ahead, last question for this morning.
Now, this is a great question. What is my daily life? And I was looking at the quality of it, and it's real similar to a news broadcast, in that it has ongoing drama from one day to the next. It may last for 3 or 4 days, and then a new news story kind of comes up. But it always has the same star in it. It has the same, headliner in it all the way through. And I started looking at what is its solution for itself. And one of its solutions is to go on vacation. That's kind of like the escape from daily life.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started looking at, well, what do most vacations turn out to be? Well, it has all the same misidentifications that daily life is kind. And so I looked kind of a larger perspective, like my whole life and vacations. And what have I always tried to do with vacations? And it's the same fruitless, inverted search for trying to get out of the bondage and the suffering by doing the same thing. But vacations are like, okay, I'm going to fool myself by going to a really different place this time.
Mm-hmm.
Or really far away. Maybe New Zealand might do it. That's what everybody says is the spot to go. Whatever.
Except those who live in New Zealand.
Except for those they're all trying to come to California. That's a great question. Because it's all made up of being misidentified with the body, being misidentified with the doership. So there's like this list of things to do.
And if you take a break of circumstances, you go to another place, your routine is interrupted, etc. But how long does it take for the same mentality to return?
Sometimes there's no break. And that's a really bad vacation.
So what you really enjoy is a break from yourself, so-called.
Yes. The thing that you're trying to get away from the ego always shows up on the vacation.
Yeah, always put that in your luggage first. That's the problem. You carry it with you.
Yeah, it's really a hopeless. Yeah. it's a hopeless solution to the problem. So that question of what is my daily life is a very powerful.
Now, what is existing actually truly the whole time? What's being called daily life is not really the ongoing existence. Rather than treat daily life, it's like it's some sort of established institution. The ongoing monolithic reality to which one can add spirituality or something like that, which is a completely inverted approach. It's far better to examine whose life is it? Who is existing the whole time? However it seems to be played out, from where is it starting? Where's the source of all this? You can see that according to the shape of your mind, so the experience goes. Whatever shape your mind takes, that's the shape the experience takes. In whatever state you have your mind, that's the state you enjoy or otherwise, wherever you are. Trying to get away from daily life, it'd be better to find out what actually is existing every day. Trying to go on vacation, you should find out what is quite beyond the daily life every day. Go ahead.
Or what's there before the daily life conjures up fully.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I can see when I first wake up in the morning, is there's not much daily life formed yet. And
So it's a product of your thinking in the waking state.
yes, and tying to memories of what was going on in the previous, daily life.
And we all know how reliable memory is.
Yes.
Considering that most of your daily life has been forgotten. If you consider how many moments there are in any day and how many days you've lived, how much of it do you remember?
Almost. Essentially nothing. Given the quantity that there is to remember, essentially nothing.
Right. So you're building up a fantasy based on something that's essentially nothing.
And then acting on top of it. As if you could have intelligence.
Where does the continuity come from? Where does the solidity come from? Where does the identity come from? It's all coming from some real source, but it's being stamped upon those impressions in the mind. And those impressions in the mind are being regarded as if external. So that one has the audacity to declare it's daily life. It's nothing to do with life. Trace out where the identity comes from. From where is the sense of reality? From where is the continuity? It's borrowed. Who's the lender? If you trace out in this way, you'll find something that's existing all the time. It is not small. It is for all eternity, in which daily life or the moments thereof are utterly insignificant. It's not sporadic, it's continuous. In realizing it, we find every single moment is profound. It is bliss itself, so it need not get away from itself, nor can it. It is you, so you must know yourself.
अन्यच्छेयोन्यदुतैव प्रेयः ते उभे नानार्थे पुरुषहंसनिकः तयोः श्रेय आददानस्य साधु भवति हीयते अर्थाद्य उप्रेयो वृणीते.
The preferable is different indeed, and so indeed is the pleasurable different. These two, serving divergent purposes as they do, bind men. Good befalls him who accepts the preferable among these two. He who selects the pleasurable falls from the true end.
श्रेयश्च प्रेयश्च मनुष्यमेतः तौ संपरित्य विविनक्ति धीरः श्रेयो हि धीरोऽभिप्रेयसो वृणीते प्रेयो मन्दो योगक्षेमाद् वृणीते.
The preferable and the pleasurable approach mankind. The man of intelligence, having considered them, separates the two. The intelligent one selects the electable in preference to the delectable, and the non-intelligent one selects the delectable for the sake of growth and protection of the body, etc.
Satvam priyan priyarupanscha kaman avidyan nachiketotyasrakshihi naitam srungam vittamai mavapto yasyam majjanti bahavo manushyaha.
O Nachiketa, you, such as you are, have discarded after consideration all the desirable things that are themselves delightful or are the producers of delight. You have not accepted this path of wealth in which many a man comes to grief.
Duramete viparite vishuchi avidyaya cha vidyeti gnata vidyabhipsinnam nachiketa sammanye natva kama bahavo lolupanta.
That which is known as knowledge and that which is known as ignorance are widely contradictory, and they follow divergent courses. I consider Nachiketa to be an aspirant for knowledge, because the enjoyable things, multifarious though they be, did not tempt you.
Avidyayam antare vartamanaha swayam dhiraha panditam manyamanaha dandramyamanaha pariyanti mudha andhenaiva niyamana yathandhaha.
Living in the midst of ignorance and considering themselves intelligent and enlightened, the senseless people go round and round, following crooked courses, just like the blind led by the blind.
न साम्परायः प्रतिभाति बालं प्रमाद्यन्तं वित्तमोहेन मूढम् अयं लोको नास्ति पर इति मानी पुनः पुनर्वशम् आपद्यते मे.
The means for the attainment of other world does not become revealed to the non-discriminating man who blunders, being befooled by the lure of wealth. One that constantly thinks that there is only this world and none hereafter comes under my sway, that is death, again and again.
श्रवणायापि बहुभिर्यो न लभ्यः शृण्वन्तोऽपि बहवो यं नु विद्युः आश्चर्यो वक्ता कुशलोऽस्य लब्धा आश्चर्यो ज्ञाता कुशलानुशिष्टः.
Of that self which is not available for the mere hearing to many, and which many do not understand even while hearing, the expounder is wonderful and the receiver is wonderful. Wonderful is he who knows under the instruction of an adept.
ननरावरेण प्रोक्त एष सुविज्ञेयो बहुधा चिन्त्यमानः अनन्य प्रोक्ते गतिरत्रिनास्तं अन्यान्यतर्क्यं मनुप्रमाणात्.
The self is not certainly adequately known when spoken of by an inferior person, for it is thought of variously. When taught by one who has become identified with it, there is no further cogitation with regard to it, for it is beyond argumentation, being subtler even than the atomic quantity.
नैषा तर्केण मतिरापनेया प्रोक्तान्येनैव सुज्ञानाय पृष्ठा यां त्वमापः सत्यधृतिर्पतासि त्वां दृङ्गणो भूयान्नचिकेतः पृष्टा.
The wisdom that you have, O dearest one, which leads to sound knowledge when imparted only by someone else other than the logician, is not to be attained through argumentation. You are, O compassionate one, endowed with true resolution. May our questioner be like you, O Nachiketa.
न जायते म्रियते वा विपश्चिन् नायं कुतश्चिन् बभूव कश्चित् अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
The intelligent self is neither born nor does it die. It does not originate from anything, nor did anything originate from it. It is birthless, eternal, undecaying, and ancient. It is not injured even when the body is killed.
हन्ता चेन्मन्यते हतुं हतश्चेन्मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते.
If the killer thinks of it in terms of killing, and if the killed thinks of it as killed, both of them do not know. It does not kill, nor is it killed.
अनोरणीयान् महतो महीयान् आत्मास्य जन्तो निहितो गुहायां तमकृतुः पश्यति वीतशोको धातु प्रसादान् महिमानमात्मनः.
The self that is subtler than the subtle and greater than the great is lodged in the heart of every creature. A desireless man sees that glory of the self through the serenity of the organs, and thereby he becomes free from sorrow.
आसीनो दूरं व्रजति शयनो याति सर्वतः कस्तं मदामदं देवं मदन्यो ज्ञातुमर्हति.
While sitting, it travels far away. While sleeping, it goes everywhere. Who but I can know that deity who is both joyful and joyless?
अशरीरं शरीरेषु अनावस्थेषु अवस्थितं महान्तं विभुमात्मानं मत्वा धीरो न शोचति.
Having meditated on the self as bodiless in the midst of bodies, as permanent in the midst of impermanent, and as great and pervasive, the wise man does not grieve.
नायमात्मा प्रवचनेन लभ्यो न मेधया न बहुना श्रुतेन यमे वैश्य बृहते तेन लभ्य तस्यैष आत्मा विवृणुते तनुं स्वाम्.
This self cannot be known through much study, nor through the intellect, nor through much hearing. It can be known through the self alone that the aspirant prays to. This self of that seeker reveals its true nature.